The Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has been speaking on the reaction of members of the Mieti Ala Cattle Breeders Association to the state's grazing prohibition law. Speaking in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, the governor urged that the group has threatened his government and the people of Ekiti State over the law. He insisted that he has a duty to ensure the protection of his people.
Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria should know that cattle farming are not different from other farmers. If they want to rear cows in Ekiti, they should do so in compliance with our laws. After all, law prohibiting sale and consumption of alcohol was made in Kano State, and the law is being enforced, while Sharia law made in some states in the north is also being enforced without questioning. Therefore, I want to appeal to all security agencies to be alive to their responsibilities and put Nigeria first over and above all other interest and consideration.
Let's switch gears now to talk sports news. Here's Charles Aruka.
Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's under-20 women's team will take on the Nigeria Women Premier League side Confluence Queens in a test match on Wednesday. Peter Dedevo's side is preparing for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup, which kicks off on November the 13th in Papua New Guinea. Dedevo is confident the friendly match versus Shola Adeoye's side at the Kogi Confluence Stadium will help expose and strengthen his side. With 28 players in camp, the Delta Queens tactician is expected to draw up his final squad list in a few days following the arrival of Chinwendu Ihezuo and Aminat Yakubu. On a rather sad note, Brazil legend Carlos Alberto has died at 72 in Rio de Janeiro following a heart attack. Alberto, who captained Brazil to glory in the 1970 World Cup, was capped 53 times by Brazil. He is fondly remembered for scoring Brazil's fourth goal in their 4-1 win over Italy in Mexico's Azteca Stadium before hoisting the Jules Rimet Trophy as the Samba Boys won the title for the third time. The classy defender played for Fluminense, Santos, Flamengo and New York Cosmos and won the nickname the captain for his leadership qualities. And over in England, Arsenal cruised into the quarter-finals of the English Football League Cup with a 2-0 victory over Reading at the Emirates Stadium. 2 goals from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain against Jaap Stam's side secured passage to the quarter-finals. Elsewhere, Daniel Sturridge's brace for Liverpool gave the Reds a 2-1 victory over Tottenham at Anfield as they progressed to the next round. Newcastle also thumped 10-man Preston North End 6-0 to ease into the last 8, while Hull City edged past Bristol City with a 2-1 victory. Leeds United defeated Norwich City 3-2 via penalties in the last game of the day after both teams were tied 2-2 after extra time. In tennis, world number 37 Gilles Muller fought back from a set down to beat 6th seed Grigor Dimitrov 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 at the Swiss indoors. After losing the first set on a tiebreak, 33-year-old Muller took the next 2 sets to see off his Bulgarian opponent in 2 hours and 21 minutes. Muller goes through to meet the winner of the match between France's Benoit Paire and Florian Mayer of Germany. And in motorsports, the Malaysian Grand Prix could leave Formula One when its contract ends in 2018 because of falling ticket sales and competition from other venues. The race at the Sepang International Circuit has been a fixture on the F1 calendar every year since 1999. The chief executive of the circuit, Razlan Razali, says Sepang, which can hold 120,000 fans, drew just 45,000 to the 2016 race on October the 2nd. By contrast, organizers of last weekend's United States Grand Prix say a record crowd of 269,889 attended over 3 days at the Circuit of the Americas. And that's it on sports news. Back to Amarachi with the rest of the news at 10.
12 people have been killed in an attack set to have been targeted at a guest house hosting members of a theatre group performing plays in schools in the northeastern town of Mandera in Kenya. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack, described as heinous by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The group has been behind a spate of deadly attacks targeting Christians in the mainly Muslim region, which has a large population of ethnic Somalis. But Kenyan authorities have debunked Al-Shabaab's claims of being behind the attacks, saying as the border with Somalia was closed from dawn to dusk, there was no way the attackers could have crossed the border to carry out the attack. 17 soldiers from Djibouti were also killed in an attack in Somalia at an African Union military base. AMISOM, which is serving troops from Burundi, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya and Uganda, has been helping a UN-backed government in its fight against Al-Shabaab, pushing the militants out of most of Somalia's major towns. The UN says it has received reports of atrocities committed by Islamic State militants as the battle to retake Mosul continues. They cited one case where 3 women and 3 children were allegedly shot dead after trailing behind while being forced to march from one village to another. Spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Rupert Colville, says the world body continues to receive reports of depredations against children and women, as well as male children. He said human rights staff were informed that IS fighters had killed 15 civilians in the village of Safina, south of Mosul, and threw their bodies into the river.
Reports of depredations, including extrajudicial killings and summary executions against children and women, as well as male civilians, by ISIL, as Iraqi government forces close in on Mosul. We also continue to receive information that reinforces the belief that ISIL are deliberately using civilians as human shields, forcing them to move to sites where ISIL fighters are based, or preventing them from leaving other places for strategic reasons. 20th of October, Iraqi security forces reportedly discovered the bodies of 70 civilians inside houses in Tulul Nasser village, which is located in the same sub-district some 35 kilometers south of Mosul city. The bodies had bullet wounds, but it's not known for sure at this point who was responsible for the killings.
And the main news again. State governors today offered to support federal government's efforts in agriculture to reverse the effects of the current economic recession. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has requested the National Assembly's approval to borrow over $29 billion for completing developmental projects. Also today, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation denied any plans to increase the pump price of petrol. The NNPC says it has a robust supply arrangement in place. Today also in Kenya, militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab attacked a theatre group, killing at least 12 people in the northeastern town of Mandera. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night.